This is in the locker room. This is before the game ended. Before the game ended. She comes out in the locker room and posts this. Like, what are we doing?
Sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, is anybody on this team going to stand up for Caitlin Clark? JC Sheldon grabbing Caitlin Clark all game, clawing at her. It's like, tonight was a brawl, folks. Tonight was a brawl. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is anybody on this team going to stand up for... And Sophie Cunningham.
Sophie Cunningham. Say the name twice, because the message hit that hard. She wasn't signed to play security, but the moment her teammate Caitlin Clark took a blatant, flagrant hit, her role changed instantly. What followed wasn't hesitation, it was instinct. In seconds, Cunningham transformed from teammate to deterrent, sending a message the entire court understood. The WNBA wasn't prepared for what came next. This is the story of how unfiltered loyalty ignited a shift inside the league, where accountability wasn't delivered by whistles or rulebooks, but by presence alone. A new kind of justice emerged that night, enforced not by officials, but by unmistakable, ice-cold intimidation.
But the play that set off the entire night. So as you guys can see here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her. Like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bad out of hell, chucks Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark didn't simply enter the WNBA. She stepped into it with a bullseye painted squarely on her back, big enough to need its own perimeter fence. From draft night on, she was never treated like a typical rookie. She was a movement, a headline, a walking spotlight. The league didn't just welcome her, it counted on her. She was cast as the face of the future, the engine for ratings, relevance, and revenue. Every arena, every broadcast, every box score revolved around the same expectation, that she would carry the league into a new stratosphere, whether she was ready for the heat or not.
To WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw. What a game that was. We had it all. We had basketball, we had fighting, we had blonde on blonde crime. Oh, such an epic. Oh, goodness. But at the end of the day, it resulted in an Indiana Fever W. 88-71, taking care of business.
And with that level of stardom came a brutal underside. Every night, every matchup, she became a target. This wasn't just physical defense or playoff intensity. It was personal. It was about statements, not stops. Veterans who believed their grind had been ignored saw her as the symbol of everything they were denied. Rising players looking for instant credibility saw her as the fastest shortcut to attention. To them, Clark wasn't just another opponent. She was the measuring stick, the proving ground, the name you challenged if you wanted to be noticed.
Let's start here. This is, of course, Sophie and Sheldon going down the floor. Sophie tries to wrap her up, and Sheldon gets to the floor, and all hell breaks loose. And Sophie said, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. We'll go. So there's that. That, of course, was all a byproduct of this right here, folks. And I mean, when I tell you social media is setting the WNBA on fire right now, not in a good way, that's the understatement.
From the opening tip of her very first game, the physical punishment never stopped. It came in waves, constant off-ball contact, crushing screens, sneaky shoves, and non-stop jawing. None of it was accidental. Every hit had a purpose. Shake her confidence, wear her down, and test whether she truly belonged at this level. Around the league, the message spread quickly and quietly. Treat the rookie rough. Crowd her space. Never let her settle in. If she was going to score, she'd have to fight for every inch and earn every single bucket the hard way.
Of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
But there's a razor-thin boundary between a hard-nosed, welcome to the league, and something far more deliberate. As the season dragged on, that boundary began to disappear. What once looked like competitive toughness started to resemble coordinated hostility. Then came the breaking point that on a nationally televised stage against the notoriously physical Connecticut Sun, the tension that had been building for weeks finally boiled over. What unfolded that night wasn't just another chippy matchup. It was the moment that redefined what protecting a teammate truly meant in the WNBA.
Feel good, and Sophie Cunningham put me out on a high note, folks. I didn't even say, Ben, calm down. Calm down, regroup. I didn't even say that. Let's get straight to the play. Everybody, the plays everybody is talking about. First off, Marina Mabrey body checking Caitlin Clark to the ground. JC Sheldon all over her. Riding her. Pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. Oh, man. Caitlin Clark needs to start wearing goggles, folks. Caitlin Clark's going to need to start wearing goggles. Bumps up on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark says, "Get your hands off me." And then here comes Marina Mabrey. Boom! Exploding Caitlin Clark like a safety coming downhill in the NFL. There was no flag.
The moment landed like a thunderclap, sudden, yet somehow unavoidable. A collision of built-up frustration and unchecked aggression. It started routinely enough, with Connecticut's JJ Sheldon glued to Clark, applying her trademark smothering pressure. Then everything shifted. A swipe came through, not for the ball, but across Clark's face. Deliberate, blatant, enough to snap her head back. Clark, clearly irritated, responded with a small shove to carve out space. Nothing unusual, nothing players don't do dozens of times a game to escape contact. In most situations, that's where it ends. This one didn't. That assess what followed turned a physical exchange into something far more serious. Out of nowhere, Marina Mabrey, who had no role in the original play, stormed into the frame, charging in with reckless force, like a missile locked onto a target. In an instant, the temperature of the game changed, and the line between basketball and outright aggression was completely erased.
About a minute and a half into recording this reaction earlier, with 1 minute left, and all hell broke loose between JC Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham, and it is very clear the Indiana Fever, some of these girls on this team are finally fed up. Finally fed up. Once again, WNBA, we're not talking about your basketball. We're talking about the WNBA WWE Raw circus that you got going on right now, and we all know this incident with Sophie stems from the incident that was clearly not handled correctly by the WNBA